Hello friends, I am Dr. Lakhvinder Singh and I am giving presentation on Article 21 of the Indian Constitution, that is right to life and personal liberty. The learning outcomes of this module would be able to understand the scope of right to life and personal liberty in India. In this we would get to know the recent trend among the Indian courts regarding the interpretation of right to life and personal liberty. Now, as we all know, in its true sense, right to life means a way of living which empowers every individual to enlighten his or her inner contents as well as the outer contents, so that he can enjoy the dignified and the humane life. The Indian judiciary widely interpreted and gave progressive meanings to the words life, personal liberty and procedure established by law for protecting individuals' fundamental rights. The right to life under Article 21 of the Indian Constitution includes right to education, right to clean environment, right to reputation, right to food, right to shelter, right against exploitation, right to dignified living, right to release and rehabilitation of bonded laborers, right to legal aid, right to know, right to go abroad, right to privacy, right against solitary confinement, and etc. While referring the Indian judicial decisions, we will have to read certain important United States judicial decisions, because they also guided Indian courts at many fronts for defining the term life and personal liberty. Now, in the case of Mann versus Illinois, 1876, while referring the 14th Amendment of the United States Constitution, Mr. Justice Field explained the meaning of life and personal liberty. He said the meaning of the life is very wide. It is more than mere animal existence. Similarly, the term liberty is something more than mere freedom from physical restraint or the bounds of a prison. In the case of Francis Crawley Mullen versus Union of India, Union Territory of Delhi 1981 Supreme Court case, the Supreme Court said that right to life includes right to live with human dignity. So, in this case also again that justice United States case law was followed, that became a guiding factor for Indian judiciary also. So, in which finally the Supreme Court said that right to life includes right to live with human dignity. And Supreme Court said that it further includes the basic necessities of life, such as adequate nutrition, clothing, shelter over the head and facilities for reading, writing and expressing oneself in diverse forms, freely moving about and mixing and commingling with fellow human beings. In the year of 1997, in the case of Samatha versus State of Uttar Pradesh, Supreme Court said that life becomes meaningful only when an individual enjoys the social, cultural and intellectual life. Another very significant case of United States origin, that is Algier versus Louisiana, in which the United States Supreme Court observed that the term liberty in the 14th Amendment means not only freedom from mere physical restraint, but the term liberty means right of the citizen to be free in the enjoyment of all his faculties, to be free to use them in all lawful ways, to live and work where he will, to earn his livelihood by any lawful calling, to pursue any livelihood or avocation, and for that purpose to enter into all contracts which may be proper, necessary and essential to his carrying out of to a successful condition the purposes above mentioned. It was a case of 1897. Then the expensive definition of liberty was followed into again United States important cases. One was Mayer versus Nebraska and Pierce versus Society of Sisters. In case of Mayer versus Nebraska, it reversed a conviction for teaching the German language to school children. In the case Pierce versus Society of Sisters, the United States Supreme Court, they invalidated a rule that prohibited the education of children in parochial schools. Now, while explaining the concept of liberty, Justice Beck Reynolds wrote that it denotes not merely freedom from bodily restraint, but also the right of the individual to contract, to engage in any of the common occupations of life, to acquire useful knowledge, to marry, establish a home and bring up children, to worship God according to the dictates of his own conscience, etc. Now, in India, in the year of 1950, the famous case, that is of A.K. Gopalan versus State of Madras, the Supreme Court refused to accept the liberal interpretation of constitutional provisions. In that sense, it is believed that the court gave a narrow construction to words such as personal liberty and procedure established by law used in Article 21 of the Indian Constitution. The court legitimated the state's action in the name of welfare state. However, in the case of Khadak Singh versus State of Uttar Pradesh 1963, the Supreme Court of India refused to accept the narrowest interpretation of the term personal liberty. The court held that the term personal liberty under Article 21 of the Indian Constitution included not only mere freedom from physical restraint, but all other aspects of liberty not covered by Article 19 of the Indian Constitution. In Satwant Singh versus Assistant Passport Officer 1967 case, the Supreme Court held that the right to personal liberty included right to go abroad. The court insisted the passport authorities to adopt some fair procedure for regulating the grant or denial of passports. Consequently, the Indian Parliament enacted the Passport Act of 1967, specifying who is eligible for passport and under what circumstances a passport is refused and the procedure for applying a passport. So, after this, in the year of 1978, the famous case Menka Gandhi versus Union of India was settled. Now, in this case, the action of impounding Menka Gandhi's passport was challenged on the ground that it violated her personal liberty. The authorities, they did not provide her any hearing before impounding her passport. Now, it was challenged. She contended that the opportunity of being heard should had been given to her before impounding her passport. Now the Supreme Court not only broadened the meaning of the words personal liberty, but also adopted the concept of procedural due process within the words procedure established by law. Now the court rejected the earlier view that the personal liberty included all attributes of liberty except those mentioned in Article 19. It was recognized that when a law restricts personal liberty, a court should examine whether the restriction on a personal liberty also imposed reasonable restrictions on any of the right given by Article 19. Now the court held that the personal liberty includes a variety of rights which go to constitute the personal liberty of man in addition to those mentioned in Article 19 of the Indian Constitution, and that one such right included in personal liberty is the right to go abroad. It means that a law depriving an individual of his personal liberty has to stand the test of Article 21 and of Article 19. Now, after this decision, the courts, they started interpreting fundamental rights in their true spirit. This decision, they suggested new wordings to Article 21, which would be like no person shall be deprived of his life or personal liberty except according to fair, just and reasonable procedure established by valid law. Now, the decision of Menka Gandhi versus Union of India, it also incorporated the concept of reasonableness into the procedure established by law in Article 21. The court liberally construed the words procedure established by law to include within it all those essential aspects of procedure that constitute due process of law. Now later on, law of India in Kartar Singh versus State of Punjab 1994 judgment again reiterated that the term procedure under Article 21 means a procedure which is right, just and fair and not arbitrary, fanciful or oppressive. The procedure should conform to the principles of natural justice, which is fair play in action. Now, it is submitted that therefore the decision of the Menka Gandhi inspired the later decisions and made the courts realize to adopt new vistas of personal freedoms like right to privacy, right to education, right to health, right to speedy trial, right to bail, right to appeal, right to humane treatment inside prison, right against torture, right to live with basic human right to compensation to the victims, etc. Now courts in India, they started recognizes sustainable development while interpreting the Article 21, and they gave environment rights by liberally interpreting Article 21, 48, 48A and 51A of the Indian Constitution. And there was a famous case of Vellore Citizen Welfare Forum versus Union of India, in which the Supreme Court of India, they recognized that right to live in a healthy environment is a fundamental right. It's a part of right to life and personal liberty. The court concluded that the state is bound to protect and preserve the ecology, as every person has a right to live in a pollution free atmosphere. The court further held that the doctrines like precautionary principle and polluter pays principle are indispensable parts of the environment law of India. The court also held that the reparation of the damaged environment is a part of sustainable development, and binds the polluter to pay the cost to the sufferers as well as the cost of reversing the damaged environment. In the case of rural litigation and entitlement, Kendra Dehradun versus State of Uttar Pradesh, it is also known as a Doon Valley case, in which the Supreme Court had to deal with the dispute involving mining in the hilly areas. After the proper investigation, the Supreme Court ordered to stop the mining work while considering the local inhabitants' cattle, homes and agricultural land. In another case, in the year of 2006, Intellectuals Forum Tirupati versus State of Andhra Pradesh, the Supreme Court made the government responsible for protecting the historical tanks while expanding the scope of concept of sustainable development and the public trust doctrine. The principles of intergenerational equity was also recognized as part of sustainable development. Now the same principle was retreated in several cases, including Andhra Pradesh Pollution Control Board versus Professor M.V. Naidu 99 case, where it was held that the state cannot infringe the right of the community and alienate the property to the others. Another case of 2008, very important judgment, T.N. Guda Varman versus Union of India, the Supreme Court again reminded the governments to make coherent policies on intergenerational equity. Recently, in the case of MC Mehta versus Union of India, the Supreme Court has suspended all mining operations in the Aravalli range, hill range, falling in the state of Haryana till reclamation plan. The said plan has to take initiatives for the rehabilitation of the area. Now, apart from right to sustainable development, right to healthy environment, there is also a need to give recognition to right to education. Right to education is very important to our survival, to maintain our civilized system. So the Supreme Court of India has made the very important sayings in which they have recognized right to education a part of right to life and personal liberty. One of the case that made the recognition, that was a case of Bandhuwa Mukti Morcha versus Union of India. That is a case of 1984, in which the Supreme Court said that right to life includes right to education also. In the year of 1992, the Mohini Jain versus State of Karnataka, the Honorable Supreme Court of India, they expanded the scope of right to education. They said that the cumulative effect of Article 21, Article 38 and 39A and B and 41 and 45 bind the state to provide educational facilities to its citizens at all levels of the education system. Now in this, the Supreme Court really gave a very expansive definition to right to life and personal liberty, and they included right to education, and they made and they put so much obligations on the state, so that they should provide education facilities at all levels of the education system. So, the interpretation was very expensive, but in the year of 1993 the Honorable Supreme Court of India, they limited the scope of right to education up to certain extent, and the Supreme Court they said that right to education under Article 45 and 41 means that every child up to the age of 14 years, he has a right to get free and compulsory education. But after completing the age of 14 years, his right to education becomes subject to the economic capacity of the state. So, they somehow limited the scope of education which was given by the Mohini Jain's judgment. Now, in the year of 1880, in the year of 2002, the Parliament, they incorporated Article 21 to the Indian Constitution. They made a 86th amendment to the Constitution, and they brought right to education a fundamental right. Now, in the year of 2002, they just said that this will determine, this right will be determined by the law, and it happened only in the year of 2009 when the law was made, legislation was made, that was Right of Children to Free and Compulsory Education Act 2009, and which enforces a fundamental right to education in India. But it is again, it is very limited in one sense that it gives a right to education to the children from 6 to 14 years of age, and from 0 to 6 they have made it a directive principle under Article 45. Under Article 51 AK, they have imposed a fundamental duty on the parents that they should send their children to the neighborhood school, and they should provide the conducive atmosphere around them, so that the compulsory education should be ensured. Right to privacy is also part of right to life and personal liberty. It is very important right which has been recognized by the Honorable Supreme Court of India, and it is very important for human survival, for emotional release, for many various things, various psychological things also, and for preserving our tangible things also. And that is why the Honorable Supreme Court of India has developed this right to privacy in India. But obviously, it has been developed in a very limited sense, that it can be enforced against the government only so far as Article 21 is concerned, and but the new things have happened, and if we give a glance to the previous judgments, in which it is only the government surveillance which has been challenged. Govind versus State of Madhya Pradesh, it is a case of 1975, in which the Supreme Court of India said that the privacy dignity claims deserve to be examined with care and to be denied only when an important countervailing interest is shown to be superior. Another case which came in the year of 1981, that was the case of Malak Singh versus State of Punjab, in which the Supreme Court said that the police should not violate privacy of a citizen while exercising surveillance over him. In the year of 1997, very serious issue was raised and it was challenged, that is wiretapping. The case was People's Union for Civil Liberties versus Union of India, 1997, in which the Supreme Court said wiretapping is a violation, it is a serious violation of an individual's privacy. The court said that the telephonic conversation is a man's intimate and private affair. Telephone tapping under section 5 subsection 2 of the Telegraph Act would violate an individual's right to privacy if it has been conducted without adopting any reasonable procedure established by law. In the recent case in which for the first time the Honorable Supreme Court of India has recognized one's mental privacy, that is a case of Selvi versus State of Karnataka, the year is 2010. In which the Honorable Supreme Court said that the involuntary administration of the psychological tests like brain mapping test, lie detection test or beep test, these kind of tests, if involuntary, the involuntary administration of these tests, it violates one's mental privacy, that is right to mental privacy. And another is, it is also a violation of Article 20 clause 3, that is a protection against self incrimination, because for them, for the court, you are compelling a person to be a witness against himself. Another case in which the Supreme Court of India, they recognize sleeping privacy also, that is a case, very famous case, Ram Leela Maidan case, in which the Honorable Supreme Court said that in which the police action was very brutal in nature, and in which the Honorable Supreme Court of India, they took a suo motu notice in this regard, and they said that they really violated their sleeping privacy, and they did not give any prior hearing before the action, prior hearing to the sleeping persons, and they violated their sleeping privacy. So, it is very crucial things which are nowadays happening. But with the passage of time, or with the development of science and technology, the privacy destroying technologies has been developed. I mean, it has been developed in the more speedier way than the things are there under Constitution of India or any other things or Supreme Court's judgment, because we have not developed our right to privacy in a very broader perspective also. But in United States, we have certain guiding things, like United States Supreme Court judgment, that is the year of 2002, US versus Jones, in which they have given a privacy against the GPS surveillance also. But in India, still we do not have such Supreme Court judgment. Maybe it will come in future. Another case which is of very recent origin in United States, that is the Riley versus California 2014 judgment, in which the United States Supreme Court, they recognized mobile phone privacy also, that at the time of arrest of the person, the search warrant, extra search warrant will be required to search the mobile phones. They cannot intervene their mobile phone privacy. Another thing in which the Supreme Court of India has recognized right to life and personal liberty, that is the right to marry. Right to marry is again one's personal autonomy, it is a part of right to life and personal liberty, it is a very personal things, personal decisions to be exercised upon. So, the Honorable Supreme Court of India has recognized this right in various judgments, like Lata versus State of Uttar Pradesh 2006 judgment, in which the Supreme Court said that right to marry is a fundamental right to life and personal liberty under Article 21 of the Indian Constitution. The court said the major person can marry any person of his own choice in the free and democratic world. Another is another case in which the Supreme Court they gave a judgment against the honor killings, and they said that the institutions which prohibit intercaste marriages, they should be banned, those institutions should be banned, and this was a case of Arugam Servai versus State of Tamil Nadu. This is a case of 2011 judgment. Another case very important, that is the Bhagwan Das, Har Bhagwan Das versus State NCT Delhi 2011 judgment, in which the Supreme Court said that the honor, so called honor killing, it comes within the purview of rarest of rare category. So, the perpetrators of the honor killings, they should be hanged, they deserve death sentence. So, this should be done. So, this is also a recognition to one's fundamental right to marry. Another very important is that while recognizing intercaste marriages or interreligious marriage, one very substantial issue which has emerged nowadays, that is LGBT's right to marry, that is whether the lesbians, gays, bisexuals or transgenders, they can marry a person of their own choice or not. Recently, however, the Honorable Supreme Court of India has said in the case of Suresh Kumar Kaushal versus Naz Foundation in the year 2013, the Supreme Court said that section 377 of Indian Penal Code is not unconstitutional, that is constitutional itself, and if the Parliament really wants to allow same sex marriages, then they can do. So, they have left this option with the Parliament whether to decriminalize the section 377 up to certain extent of Indian Penal Code or not. So, it is for the Parliament to decide. But so far as United States is concerned, they have a very strong judgments regarding the marrying a person of their own choice, that is Loving versus Virginia, in which earlier there were the certain laws which prohibited the white and the color marriages. So, it was only in the case of Loving versus Virginia 1967 the Supreme Court, United States Supreme Court, they invalidated laws which prohibited interracial marriages. So recent case is of Bostic versus Schaffer also 2014, in which the United States Supreme Court has recognized the LGBT's rights, that is same sex marriages, that the it is their personal autonomy and they can marry a person of their own choice. So it does not matter whether it is a same sex marriage or not. Another very important thing is that right to die and the right to life, that whether right to die should be a part of life, right to life and personal liberty or not. We have very important judgments. One is Pai Rathinam versus Union of India, in which the section 309 was decriminalized, it was held unconstitutional, but later on in Gyan Kaur versus State of Punjab, the Honorable Supreme Court of India, they overruled its P. Rathinam's judgment, and they said that section 309 is not unconstitutional and right to die is not a fundamental right to life and personal liberty. Recent decision of Honorable Supreme Court of India is the case of Aruna Shanbag's case, decided in the year of 2011, in which the Supreme Court has allowed the passive euthanasia. Then they have legalized this passive euthanasia, that this can be done, but otherwise taking one's own life, that is still constitutional. I mean, criminalizing the attempt to commit suicide is constitutional. And by this I would like to conclude the whole module, that how the concept of life and personal liberty has been developed by so many years, and how it included various aspects, fundamental aspects of our right to life and personal liberty, that we have a right to live in a healthy environment, we have a right to education, we should get the proper true education, and there should not be any kind of disparity between the education standards, and there should not be a rule like separate but the equal treatment, that if somebody is getting the better education, the better orientation, and some other person they are not getting the same treatment. So separate and but equal treatment is again it is inherently discriminatory in nature, so it should be banned. And moreover, there is a right to privacy which we discussed, that in this right to in this modern era, right to privacy should be preserved. Similarly, certain rights of personal autonomy, they are also part of fundamental right to life and personal liberty, and the scope of the personal autonomy should be widened in future also. Thanks.